Hello and welcome. This is the very first Time Bandit in 10. I'm Michael Cups and I'm the author of Time Bandit and part of Coterie Solutions, and very excited to go live on this live stream. I'll be honest with you, this is the very first one for Time Bandit in 10, so I'm doing a bit of a test and checking out that the system works. And hopefully it does work. But instead of inviting a guest and having a failure with a guest today, I thought I would just start with just a general introduction to Time Bandit, test out the technology, and get geared up for inviting guests to the future. And I'll tell you a little bit about what the future holds for Time Bandit in 10 very soon. What I'm going to do today, however, is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to just talk a little bit about Time Bandit and what the principles are. And then I'll wrap up by telling you what Time Bandit intended to do. And it's really about you. It's about giving you time management tips for your future. And it's going to come from a host of individuals, whether they be professionals, whether they be stay-at-home parents, students, teachers, professors at universities, and just a wide range of people that are going to join me and talk about their favorite time management tips. So what I'm going to use today is our Time Bandit tablet, which is a notepad that is available on Amazon. You can get the book on Amazon. You can also get the notepad on Amazon. Very soon, about the first of the year, we will launch a mobile app that you can do this all on your mobile app, on your mobile phone, which will be a fantastic way of keeping the content fresh and so on. But for today's purposes and the ease of presentation, I will be talking about the different elements associated with Time Bandit and using this tablet as the mechanism. So what you see on the left is the Eisenhower matrix, if you're familiar with it. If you're not, I'll explain it in just a moment. And on the right, you see a habit tracker. And those are two fundamental methods that we teach in Time Bandit to allow you to take control of your priorities, take control of the balance of your life, whether it be personal, work, or aspirational. And these tools are meant to help you get there through a mechanism that we'll teach you in just a moment. And so really what the workflow is in Time Bandit is this: you have things to do. And a lot of times what people end up doing is talking about the things they do, and they put them on a sequential list on a sheet of paper and call it their to-do list. And it mixes all sorts of things. And it's very hard to figure out which priorities are most important. It's very hard to understand where you should be focusing your time. And that's what Time Bandit is about to do. So the first thing we want you to do is think about all the things that you have to do and consider some of them should be daily habits. And those habits are about starting something new, breaking old habits, or maybe it's a habit that's been start-stop for you for some time and you just want to make sure it keeps going. And so with that in mind, that's what we want you to move that information to a habit tracker. And I'll talk a little bit about how to use a habit tracker in a little bit and some examples of that. And then other things to do, you're going to see that there's really three kind of categories of tasks. So before I get to how you're going to categorize those, let's talk about the tasks. You have tasks that you just need to get done. Maybe it's get the lawn mowed, or maybe it's pick up the kids after school, or maybe it's work related. And those things we're going to show you how to either schedule those to do now, schedule for later, delegate, or stop doing them. Then you have your BAU task, and BAU stands for business as usual task. Those really aren't in the confines of Time Bandit because those are things you do on a daily basis for your job, for example. And maybe your job is claims processor, and you know that you have to do 12 claims per day. So you're just going to schedule time. You're going to block out time on your schedule, and you're going to do those. So we're not really putting those into your to-do list because they should just be part of your day. And then the tasks that are associated with projects fall into the same methodology that other tasks do, whether it's do now, schedule, delegate, or stop. So if we go back to the left and we talk about the three questions you need to ask yourself about tasks. The first one is, which role is this? And we really preach to you in the Time Bandit methodology that you need to think about the whole self. You need to think about the balance of these things working together. And that means there's personal items, there's work items, and there's aspirational items. And if you forget any one of those, you tend to get out of balance and you get frustrated. So we really want you to see that those tasks can live together, and you can schedule and prioritize those all together in one system. And the second and third question you're going to ask are related. The first one, is it important? And the third is it urgent? And the answer to those two questions will allow you to rank the next step. So let's go there. On the tablet here, you can see that there is importance, not important, urgent, and not urgent in these quadrants. So it's a 4-quadrant system for the Eisenhower matrix. And if you go back up to the workflow here, we know that we're going to identify a task and either do it now, we're going to schedule it for later, we're going to delegate it to somebody, something else, or we're going to stop doing it. So let's work through that. Let's start with things that are urgent and important. So once you rank the urgency and the importance, if it falls into the category of being very important and being very urgent, then it goes into the do now quadrant. And so let's look at a few examples. One may be prepare your forecast for your job. And if you notice, I put a /W there, which represents it's a work item. So on the tablet, you want to do something to give yourself a visual indicator of what role that participates in. If you're in the app, it's so much easier to do because you can assign it to different lists. You can assign different priorities and things like that. You can assign dates and schedules and reminders and so on. But on the tablet, you would write those out. And some people like to write things out because they also get to cross them off when they do it. So that's always a good thing as well. So here's another example, study for a finance final. Maybe your aspiration, and that's what the A stands for, is to get a master's degree. And so maybe it's study for finance, and that's going to be very important and very urgent based on when that test might be. Another example for the personal might be to pick up Sarah's costume for a school play or for Halloween or whatever the case may be. So you can see that there's several different types of tasks you may have, but all of these have some level of urgency. That means it's in that quadrant, and they're important because if you fail to do them, there's consequences. So now let's move over to the not important, but still urgent. So there's a lot of things that come online to you, the tasks that come to you, and they are urgent, but they're not important, but you still need to schedule them. So what you need to do there is you need to think about invites for happy hour, for example, that you need to get out before November 2nd. And again, this is a work item. So again, you can do this later. I'm sorry, I think this is backwards, but we'll continue on. And then you've got things that are such as patio lights, which is a personal item that is that's due on November 8th, and you can see here that I put it in red because it's urgent but not important, but we still need to get it done. And then you have things that are not urgent but are important, and these things you need to delegate out. So these things are things that need to take place because they're important to your business or your personal life, but they're not exactly urgent. So let's talk about that. So something like this, and who you're going to delegate it to is very important. So on this particular case, we're going to write a blog outline and use ChatGPT to help us out with that. You're still going to write the blog, but you want to get the outlines fleshed out with ChatGPT's assistance, so you're going to delegate that out. Another one might be to trim the trees in your yard, and you're going to delegate that out to your landscaping services. So you're going to give them a call, and they're going to take care of that for you, but you still need to take the time to go ahead and delegate that to them. And then the last category of not important and not urgent, these items are things you want to stop doing. And I don't know if this is a good example, but I picked an example. Maybe you're part of a club that takes up 2 hours of your night on every Thursday or something like that. And you just find that it's not important and it's not urgent. So maybe you stop doing that so you can reallocate that time to your family or to an aspirational goal of yours, et cetera. So those are the things you do. The nice thing about this list is it can move around as things get more important or get more urgent. Then you can move them into the different quadrants. But the nice other thing is you can check these off as you get them done. So now let's go over and talk about habits. Habits are things that you want to start doing, you want to break old habits, or you want to keep doing a habit that's been difficult. So the best way to get this done, if you've read Atomic Habits or you read Time Bandit, we talked about that a bit, and it's about just tracking that, making yourselves accountable for those various habits. And when you look at the habits, I just wrote some down here: walk 2 miles a day, cut out sugar, maybe socially connect with somebody for work on a daily basis, do some social networking, and read 15 minutes. Just the things you could pick. And this could be any wide range of habits that you might want to work on. And then all you do is you go through your Sunday, you go in and you mark out which ones you've done. And I tend to do this in the evening so I can think about my tomorrow. And I look at my priorities and my habits and what did I do today? How did I do? And then I can think about the priorities and my habits that I need to focus on tomorrow. And then when you get to Monday, you can then mark out what you've done there. And by the way, just because you miss a day doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you're failing. Just get back on it when you can. So for example, the social connect and social network on a Sunday, maybe you decided not to open your laptop. And so it's perfectly fine to miss those two days using that technology. And then you get on track on Monday, and then again on Tuesday, maybe you wiped out all of them. And then again on Wednesday, you have different aspects of it that you've accomplished. And that's how you use a habit tracker. You have the habits, you hold yourself accountable by just check mark about how you did that day. And then after the week's over, you can take a look at it and say how you did. Do you have streaks going? Like for Walk 2 Miles, in this particular example, they got a 4-day streak going, which is fantastic. You may miss Thursday, you may miss Saturday, but at least you had a 4-day streak, and you may have a 5-day streak if you get there tomorrow. So that's a little bit about what the habit tracker is all about. And so now with the priority matrix and the habit tracking, you kind of have the basics for what can you do to prioritize your time and get more and do more. And that's what the real goal of the Time Bandit is, to steal back your time. And the best way you can steal back your time is know what you need to work on, know the habits that you need to participate in on a daily basis, and focus on those. And things that can wait till later because they're not urgent, then you can move on and do that later. So let's talk about Time Bandit in 10. Time Bandit in 10 is a live stream series that we're going to start, and well, I guess we started it today, and we're going to invite people on that will give their time management tips. They're not always going to be about Time Bandit. They could be any number of tips, because there's some great things out there, and we want to share everything with you, and we want to do it from a broad range of people that can share. We'll broadcast it live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Facebook will be on the Time Bandit Coterie page as well as my page. And then also we'll put the recordings out there on X and Instagram accounts. We're not set up to do live streaming there yet. We may be in the future, but right now we'll broadcast to the 4 channels and then post to those channels the recording on all of them over time. So hopefully you can join us, and we look forward to hosting a wide range of people on the live stream. And like I said, this is about you. It's about getting you information that can help you over time do better. As well as just capturing your time back so you can focus on that whole self, whether it's adding more personal tasks into your list or adding more aspirational tasks into your list. We want to help there, and we want to be there for you. So many thanks, and have a great day. Thanks for joining the very first Time Bandit in 10.